Morning and welcome to an incredibly windy Gardening 365. And first of all, a cider update. Now what I'm doing with this, I'm doing a process called freeze separation. So the original cider was 15.75, and then what I've done is separated the alcohol from the water, taken about 50-50 off that. So in theory I've increased the strength then up from 15 to pushing towards 30, and this is the second separation this has had, so I really haven't got a clue what strength this is going to be now, but we're certainly talking high strength, and the freeze separation process is totally legal in the UK, so I don't think I'm doing anything wrong here. My slow wine's doing well. That's all but finished now, and I think that was about 12-13% that wine, something along those lines. Had a little taste of it and it is very nice actually, and I have frozen a little bit to see how that separates, so we'll see how that one goes as well. The last of the Moneymaker tomatoes, and these are the very last of the follow-on tomatoes that we had. I had to pull them out because they got some blossom end rot, but as you can see, even the really green ones are starting to turn, so I'm not sure how long they'll last for now, but I'm definitely getting towards the end of the tomatoes now. And that's it, pretty much done now. So that's 4 litres of cider, freeze separated down to 1 litre, and I've got one final little job. I'm just going to give it one final filter so it's crystal clear. And the filter papers I'm using are 7 to 10 microns, so it will take virtually everything out of it apart from the really clear liquor. And next up for the freeze separation is some slow wine. So this was about 12%, so hopefully get somewhere near doubling the strength for this now. Okay, because it's a lower alcohol, okay, it will take longer to thaw. So this might take, I don't know, 30 minutes or so. And I'm looking for about 500 millilitres from 1 litre. And this is my very homemade filtration system. So I've got a big jug, big funnel, the filter paper in, and the cider going through. And again, this is a slow job. This might take the rest of the day for this all to filter, but it's definitely worth doing because you'll get crystal clear end product. Mushroom watch. This is the very first one I put in. I think this is 2 weeks old now. This was in coffee grounds, but I've now put some straw on the top of it. It's called casting, just to get some height in it so the mushrooms grow through when they come and get longer stalks and stuff. These are oyster mushrooms, and if you can see, there's the white growth from the mushroom spawn coming through. So I honestly think we're a week away from getting mushrooms in there. That's the first one. The second one I've put in, which is only a week old, this has got nothing coming through yet, and that bit of white there is fluff. I don't know, it's a bird feather or something, maybe off the straw. This is the third one that I've got going, and this is the experimental one more than any of them, because this is just purely mushroom stalks. There's no spawn in there whatsoever, and it's just in straw. And if I can get these to develop mushrooms, I am going to be absolutely over the moon. And I'm just going to give these a little tiny bit of rainwater, just to keep everything going. No more than that, just a little tiny bit. And I'm going to do that to all 3. And when I finished, they all go back into sort of carrier bags, covered up, so they create that warm, humid environment which mushrooms are going to love. An indoor plant update. The indoor seeds that I planted have been a disaster. So some you win, and in this case, it's a lose. So that's the bad news. What's the good news? Hyacinths are looking great. Amaryllis still a little bit slow, but definitely showing progress. The ginger is growing week in, week out, which is great. And the little one now has started to get its first leaves. And like I've shown you previously, I've been a little bit disappointed in the turmeric, but I'm going to show you something. The turmeric on the top is one that hasn't been in soil or water. And look how it's all dried up, where the other ones now look full, okay, and hydrated. And I'm pretty confident that at some point they are going to sprout. And if they do, I'll be singing from the rooftops. And it will probably rain the day after. The hibiscus has been wonderful, but unfortunately it's now come to the end of its flowering. We've had 3 really good flowers off that in the last couple of weeks, so it's been absolutely beautiful. Now the big yucca, unfortunately Claire doesn't like it, and unfortunately I've got to find a new home for it. So if anybody is interested in a large yucca, they're more than welcome to it. It's free to a good home, but minus the pot, so Claire wants the pot. But you can certainly have the yucca and take it away and pot it up into a bigger pot. Okay, free to a good home, large yucca. Outside now, and I'm going to have a look at my carrots. I've got a bit of a worry that some of these could be rotting off in the ground being so wet. So I'm just going to take a look at them, pull a few out and see what they're like. If they're okay, I'll leave them in a bit longer. If not, they're coming out. And most of them at the moment are about 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch, so I'm going to pull a few of those out and just thin them out a little bit. Now I've got a question. Who believes in the afterlife? No, not that sort of afterlife. This sort of afterlife, after the life of your plans. So these tomatoes I planted in March from seeds, and they have done lots for us. Now when we finish with them, what am I going to do with them? Of course I am. They're going into the compost heap to supply us with perfect fertiliser for our gardens, maybe even for next year's tomatoes, but certainly for something in our garden. That's a sort of follow-on that we do. The circle of life, Hakuna Matata. Now definitely one thing you don't want in your compost is anything plastic, so plastic string, binder twine, that sort of thing, but just basically anything that's plastic. Make sure that doesn't enter into your compost bin. It'll never break down, well in fact it will, into microparticles, and that will go into your food. We don't want that. And also things that are harmful to your compost. These are the tomatoes that had blossom end rot. I'm not composting them because that can sort of transfer that disease back into your compost for the following year, and I don't want that, so they're going in the bin. Just one row, and I've got 6 more rows to go. Perfect size carrots for freezing or eating. And it's a bit like me and Claire joined together. Just walked past the purple sprouting, and we have got purple sprouting. They're only very small at the moment, but I think we'll have purple sprouting for Christmas. And that's it, they're all thinned out. Okay, and I've used the opportunity, as I always do if I've thinned out, to just clean out any weeds that are in between the rows, just to keep everything tidy. And they haven't headed or anything, so I'll chuck them in the composting bin. The carrot tops, as always, go into the carrot top tea. Now I honestly believe next year that's going to be too strong, so we'll have to probably dilute that down, maybe 2 to 1, something like that. But that will be really strong, nitrogen rich feed for next year. And just push it underneath the water so it rots even better. So, how well did we do with the carrot harvest? That's the question. I'd say pretty good. That is the late carrots, and that's just the ones we pulled out to thin them out. Not sure what the weight of those are, but there's a few pound in weight there. Now on Gardening 36527, I got a little bit upset at the end. My incinerator died because my cheap incinerator that I bought, and it wasn't cheap, it was 20 quid plus, had lasted less than a season. And then I made a plea on Garden 36527 at the end. Oh, and by the way, if anyone local's got an oil drum, we'd love to have one. And Anthony Deegan came up good and he gave me these two. Not only did he give them to me, he prepared them ready for incinerators. I put knolls in them and he cut the tops out of them as well, so they're ready to go. So Anthony, thank you very much for those, and we'll put them to good use, as you'll see very, very shortly. Calabrese update, that's on my plate tomorrow. Parsnip watch, I think there's 3 or 4 in there and they're absolute whoppers. Okay, so I'll be giving some of those away, and one will probably be for lunch tomorrow. And the highlight of today, believe it or not, is not those fantastic carrots that I've just pulled. Even the parsnips, even the fact that we got fantastic calabrese for our dinner tomorrow, the purple sprouting's almost ready, the fact that Anthony has gave me these 2 fantastic incinerators. It's the fact that I've just seen these 2 wild ducks coming into our pond and landing no more than 6 foot away from me. Okay, absolutely fantastic. A little bit smaller than the domesticated ducks. There's a female and the male is over there. But absolutely wonderful seeing wild ducks on our pond. We share our garden with the wildlife that's in it. Superb, made my day. That's it, the incinerator's loaded. Hopefully it'll burn through. Got a bit more to go in. Wild ducks on the pond. I'm well happy. It's just starting to drizzle a little bit and I'm going inside for today, but I have been well impressed today. Okay, I'm looking forward to getting out tomorrow. So have a good evening, bye. And there's Bucket doing his job. He's after rats. He knows where they are. Okay, I hope he gets one. Just fed our ducks. They're coming off for their food. And I wouldn't thought it'd been long before the wild ducks, they come and have their little food. They eat exactly the same as ours. And what it does, it gives the 2 wild ones a little bit longer by themselves, away from our rowdy bunch. Ain't they spectacular? Now she's caught, she's going a good one. Again, many thanks to Anthony for these. I wonder why Claire's put these 4 out. There they are, all washed, ready for grading, chopping up, or whatever we're going to do with them. All done and ready for the freezer. I've got just a few cracked ones. I've got a good use for those and I'll show you what that is shortly. So I'm going to just cut them up and put them in that little pan there. And what with the carrots in the pan, they're for Spud and Tez. They absolutely love cooked veg, so nothing goes to waste at all. Morning. And today the weather is wonderful. And just a quick one, I brought the daffodils inside. Hopefully they'll now start germinating, and I put some bug killer on the bugs on the ginger, so hopefully everything's okay in here now. And one of the main jobs for today is just to fill up our log store. And the other one needs a top up too, so got to shift quite a few logs. And the log store's full. And nothing goes to waste, all of the bits go into the compost bins. Wild ducks are back again.
and making good use of the new incinerator. And when that's been through, got a little bit more to go in, and that area then is pretty much done. Now then, nothing goes to waste philosophy. We've just caught a fantastic calabrese, but there's a lot of waste on it. What can I use that for? I'm just going to trim it down and then we'll go through it a bit more. The leaves, I wonder who they'll be for. Yep, you guessed it, the ducks. And in come in are the geese. Who's gonna eat that? Now I know two of our pets love cooked vegetable, and they love broccoli stalks. I think it might be for Spud and Tez. And who's gonna eat that? Well, that's me and Claire. And I'm foraging in the wilderness, up on the mountains. Okay, and what am I gonna pick to eat? I just don't know. And I've found a little stream with watercress. That looks delicious. Okay, and it's wild. Now what I always say, don't pick things if you're not sure what they are, but I'm pretty sure that's watercress, and I know how to use that. Now luckily when I'm out foraging, I always bring a pair of scissors with me and a little bowl, and then hopefully it's not too far till I get back home. Well, that concludes another episode of Gardening 365. I hope you enjoyed it. The day today has just been absolutely magnificent. Okay, outside most of the day, blue skies, and got virtually all of the jobs. In fact, no, I've got all of the jobs done that I planned. Keep inviting your friends to Facebook, subscribe to YouTube, and have a great week. Okay, and thanks for joining us, and see you next time for Gardening 365 30. 3, 0. Bye.